hello, hello, and good afternoon. Welcome to the Coaxum Report. This is Terry Coaxum, and I am your host. You can join us on Apple TV, on Roku. I also encourage you to download our app at ourtv.network. You can also catch us on Android, and you can listen to us simultaneously on WSTX Bloomberg. I have the phenomenal honor of being joined today by Tiffany Lawrence Newhouse. I am so excited. Tiffany,
Very nice to be here.
how are you, Tiffany? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Coaxum Report. And so, if you don't know, I'm not sure how much Carolyn told you, but you can catch us throughout all of the Caribbean. So don't be
Nice.
surprised when your folks reach out and say they saw you on the Coaxum Report. You can also catch
I
us
love
throughout
it.
the United States, Southeast Asia. So this is an international program. I'm so happy to have you on today. Looking
Thank you.
wonderful. So Tiffany, on the Coaxum Report, we like to jump right in and talk to our guests about their experiences. And so I want you to take a journey with me today and tell us a little bit about MPC. Tell us how you even got to where you are, where you're located in that space, and how our listening audience is able to reach you. And then I want to talk about the barriers, some best practices, and we're going to get some big ideas because I'm solution oriented. I want to end with some solutions. So tell
Okay,
me, who
sounds
is
great.
Tiffany Newhouse? What is MPC? Why is that important? And how do you even get to where you are right now? What inspired you to be who you are in the space that you're playing in right now?
So I'll share a little bit about the company first. I'm Tiffany Newhouse, CEO of Newhouse Project Consulting. We're a professional services company, which really focuses on helping organizations lead through transformation. So when I say that, I mean transformation such as digital. So you're implementing some large technology within the organization. Sometimes we get stuck there with the technology, but it's bigger than that, right? It's really also around the human adoption, right?
That's
And
right.
the
That's
human
right.
side of the transformational change, which we oftentimes forget. And so we're working with executives and CEOs and project teams to help their solutions actually become adopted. And normally they're transformational projects, so they're going across a large organization, such as, Cox, Kaiser. I'm not sure if you all have any of those in the Caribbean, but those are kind of large Fortune 50 companies as
That's
well.
right. That's
And
right.
what brought me on this path, which is pretty interesting, before starting Newhouse Project Consulting, I was a senior executive at Microsoft.
Ah,
Yeah, number two company in the world, rolling out global projects for them, leading a global team, which required me to be up 24 hours a lot of the time. And
that's
my
right.
husband and I were very much interested in starting a family. It's very difficult to start a family when you're working 24 hours. So really the catalyst to starting Newhouse Project Consulting was really around the fact that my husband and I wanted to be parents. It took some time. We had some challenges, but once we got Jeremiah into the world, we were very much committed to being great parents. And so my husband, who is very much risk averse, very much an introvert, like total opposite of me, he comes to me and says, "Why don't we just do our own thing?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "I know you don't like the paperwork, and I don't know. I know you're good at the people part and relationships, and I'll do all of that." I'm like, "Are you sure?" He's saying, "Yeah." We decided to just take a step out on faith. We are strong believers
That's
um,
right.
our faith, and
That's
we just took
right.
a leap of faith. And the business we've been in business for 8.5 years,
Yay!
going
You
on
passed the
9.
5-year mark. I'm super
Yes, and we
excited.
have a multi-million-dollar business,
Yes.
and feel really proud about what we're doing. So I hope that
No,
answers.
and this is excellent. It's about flexibility, right? It's about being ready so you don't have to get ready, right? It's about having a phenomenal partner that's on the same page with you, right? And then more importantly, it's about having that faith and not seeing the entire staircase and still walking out on what you believe and taking your talents, your skills, your ability, and your faith with you intertwined. And so, I mean, that's an amazing, amazing journey that you took. And it's funny when I was because I was the SBA regional advocate. And when I was in the Caribbean, I was talking to some small business owners. I was like, well, what was one of your challenges? They were like, starting my own business. I was like, well, why? Because my family felt I needed to get a real job. I'm like,
I
starting a
hear that a
business ain't
lot.
a real
and, and and
job.
and really and truly, like, it's kind of when you're graduating from school. Same thing with me. I'm a little older probably than some of those who wanted to start it, but I had some previous experience working at Microsoft and
Right.
being an independent consultant. But I do really encourage people to take a leap of faith in the entrepreneurial space. There's so
That's
many
right.
resources and opportunities. I'm here in Minnesota this week with the organization called Woo Women Elevating Women.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's a lot of organizations that are out there that to support entrepreneurs that weren't there before in the past. So I just
Right.
really encourage them to, if it's your passion and it's something you believe in, it's something that you want to do, I say go for it. You can
That's
always
right.
go get a
That's
job.
right. That's right. And you have time. And I tell
Right.
people all the time the same thing. I teach at Medgar Evers College. And so I tell my students all the time, go get that other degree because you're going to be the same age. It's not like you're going to age backwards, right? So
Right.
go get that degree so you can be credentialed to do the thing that you want to do because life is going to life anyway. Right?
Exactly. And it's
Life is
always
going to keep
life, right?
life.
It's always life. And education, like you said, is so absolutely critical. My foundation, you said, well, how did you get here? And I'm really standing on the shoulders of some of my ancestors and people who really gave me opportunity through education as well. My mom was a teenage mom. We moved to California from Texas, and we ended up living with my great aunt and uncle. So that was my great grandmother's sister.
Oh,
She was the most
wow.
amazing woman, Medora Eaton and John Eaton, and they taught me the values of hard work. They taught me the value of education, and they always told me I can do and be anything I wanted to be. They were born in
Right.
1903 and 1913, so they were just coming out of those post-slavery
That's
days. And so all of those stories and everything that they told me really fueled me to make sure that I became someone that they could be proud of, that I could
right.
actually pass this legacy down to others and give as much knowledge and information and support to others as I can. And so
And
I
that's
feel like I'm really
phenomenal.
in this space because of them,
That's
not
right.
because of myself.
That's right. That's right. Because they face many more barriers than we can ever imagine.
Hmm.
And just us looking at them and standing on their shoulders and believing in what we saw through them, because you saw the tenacity, you saw the grit, you saw the days that they didn't want to get up and they got up and they got going and they still encouraged you, they still inspired you. And my grandmother was still loving up on you.
Yeah,
You know, I could
exactly.
see she was in pain and she was still hugging and a kissing and a loving up on me. And I'm like, I got to do this for her. Like
Exactly.
this is what I'm doing for her. And so, even in my own testimony, my own story, I tell people I want to die empty. I want to be able to pour everything that has been poured into me into everyone I come in contact with. Like my goal now is to be the certification engine for minority-owned businesses.
I
Period.
love that.
Everyone that come in contact with me, I'm like, let's get certified because there's $1 billion spin out there that's $1 billion lie if you don't have part of it, right?
Right.
So let's put
Exactly.
minority-owned businesses on track. And so one of the things that you said that I love, I mean, you said a ton of things and you're dropping a lot of nuggets. First of all, shout out to Jeremiah. What a name was
He's
Jeremiah.
amazing.
His parents can't do nothing but be great. But some things you talked about when you talked about when you came into doing what you were doing, you had a foundation already. You understood, the corporate world, but you also understood that there was more for you to do. And so you went forward, you stepped out on faith and you did that. But you also remembered your ancestors. You remembered your family. You remembered how your mom was a teenage mom and a single parent and moved into this space, a space that she wasn't familiar with and you weren't familiar with, but you weren't afraid to take everything inside of you and like pour it into your clients right now. So you started talking about these top clients that you have that I don't want to gloss over that. Like that's a big deal. Like you don't come out kicking in the doorway in the 4-4 with clients like that. Like you literally have to put in that work to be able to say, for them to be able to stand behind you and say, hey, Newhouse is a consulting firm that's doing what I need them to do. And so I want to commend you for that. I want to just gloss over that and
Oh,
pretend that
thank you
that
so
didn't
much. It's
happen.
hard for us, but I just want to encourage everyone to just kind of, push through. And we get a lot of no's sometimes, but you
That's
just have
right.
to continue to push through. and
And
show what you bring to
no
the
doesn't
table.
mean no. No just means not now,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Or like today we talked about, that means just gonna knock on another door,
That's
right?
right. That's right.
Right.
You
So it
just know
doesn't
that.
always mean that it's that door.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
another divine plan for you, which doesn't include that door, right?
Right.
But it doesn't mean that the opportunity that is out there for you doesn't exist. So I just really encourage people to stay encouraged. It's not easy being an entrepreneur. I want to
Nope.
be really honest about that. It's working hard. We don't really get a lot of time off.
Right.
But I have flexibility to be with my son. I have flexibility to be with my family. So I can pick and choose when I choose to work, even though it is a lot of work.
Right.
So that's some of the
Absolutely.
flexibility, that it actually allows for. And, just building legacy. You may want to build something that you want to pass down, to your family or your children or what have you, something you want to sell and, make money off of. And now you have a pot of money that you can leverage for other things that you may want to do. So I just want people to stay
Absolutely.
encouraged.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that you talked about, and I want to reiterate that too, because like I said, you're dropping a lot of nuggets and you're kind of glossing over them because this is your life and life is life. And I want to come back because you talked about having these partnerships and you talked about, having these resources. There's a ton of resources available. So wherever you are in the space, the federal government has resources through through the SBA. SCORE is another resource you can take advantage of. We Bank, Women Elevating Women, which is a part of what you were just a part of now. These are all phenomenal resources. The state and the cities that we're in, the government has resources for small business because small businesses are the engine that drives the economy. And so, if you're stepping out on faith the way that Tiff did and starting your own business, understand there's someone to help you write that business plan and that marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
There's resources like Microsoft and Google and Coca-Cola and FedEx, in a space that are giving you grants for you to come out and do that stuff. That wasn't always the case.
Right. And we
I'm
have
gonna
to take advantage too, Terry, of sorry to mean it, but
absolutely.
I just wanted to jump in because I wanted to just, emphasize that we want to take advantage of this time
That's
where,
right. Because it's
people want to
unique.
work with brown people, right? And that there is a commitment still to brown people and
Right.
set aside and opportunities to access to money that these organizations and companies have set aside. So we want to
That's
really
right.
take advantage of that. And there's other like incubators. I just wanted to kind of call
That's
out
right.
a couple.
Incubators are important too.
Yeah, those are important. Like we're a Salesforce partner, but before we became a Salesforce partner, we were in a program which was for Black-owned businesses mentorship, right?
Hmm.
So through that, we were connected with various senior level directors and leaders at Salesforce. So
Okay.
started to learn more about what it meant to become a partner.
That's
So
right.
taking advantage of those are free. You don't have to pay anything for that. I'm also in a program called EAN. It's Entrepreneur Access Network. That's
Hmm.
through Ernst and Young, and they're looking for Black and brown Latino entrepreneurs to come to this program where they're giving you access to capital. They're giving you advice. I think it is the most amazing program, and it really has been transformational for our organization. So I really just want to emphasize that
That's
to
right.
to look and see where there may be other these accelerators, impact accelerators, or just that you can hop
Goldman Sachs is
into
another one
that'll.
that comes to mind. Goldman Sachs comes to mind here because I know a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
that went through that program and they did a phenomenal job. I also encourage, look into your local chambers. I know here the
Yeah.
Brooklyn Chamber of Commerce, the Greater Chamber of Commerce, those are all excellent resources and they have those sort of programs available. The SBA, go on to sba.gov and you'll see trainings because they partner with the local libraries and they're partnering with the local colleges and organizations and businesses. And so, like you're saying, those programs are available. And so I'm glad you're shouting those out as well. And then we have here Restoration Plaza. They even have the Restoration Plaza here in Brooklyn. They have an accounting program. And so if there's a specific skill that you're looking for in your business, start going after those programs. Call up Google, believe it or not. Like reach out to Google. Google has programs
Mm-hmm.
because they're like leading AI, right? So they have tons of different programs that you can use to kind of to really pivot in your business. And so, one of the things Tiffany said, and I want to reiterate, do your research. Do your
Exactly.
research. Start looking out there. See what you need. Start looking for it. If you don't know how to do QuickBooks, Google University.
And free, like once
Right, to
again,
get
these
you
things
started.
are
YouTube
free.
University, yeah, it could get you started, and then you can reach out. I mean, QuickBooks is one of the most amazing programs that I use in my business because, believe it or not, I call them and they answer.
Right.
Like, I'm having an issue with something, and they like get on the phone and walk me through, and I'm like, okay. So
Nice.
these are all things that we want you to win, right? We want you to win. We want you to win every day. We want you to be on that level playing field. We want you to become the multi-million dollar business that we know that you can be. And a way to do that is to access these resources, access the accelerated programs, access the government programs, get certified. Get
Exactly. I was
certified,
gonna
go
say
after
get
this
certified. Call
contract,
Terry and get
right? You
certified.
know, and go get your win. Like we want everyone that is listening to this program to be a multimillionaire. There's a lot
Absolutely.
of money out there that we're leaving on the table. Not all of us want the same slice of that pie. Like, and I tell people all the time, well, I want to keep my business close. And I'm like, and how are you going to grow it then? If you're keeping it close to your shirt, how are you going to grow it? And at the end of the day, you and I don't want the same thing anyway. Tiffany
Right.
and I can walk into the shoe store, and I bet 5 times out of 10, we're going to go in a different section of the shoe. There's a whole bunch of shoes in this store. We both
Right.
like shoes, but we don't want the same shoe.
Exactly.
Especially the way
Exactly.
my ankle is set up after breaking it, I'm not looking for those heels. I'm going on that
And
other.
I wanted to also add in, Terry, where you said about when we're talking about how we scale our businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think that's really important. So there
That's
may
right.
be individuals who are listening who already have, great businesses, and they just want to, they're looking to scale those businesses. And so in doing that, just realize that that requires more capital. That's
That's
more
right.
time intensive. May cut a little bit into your profit, but ultimately, in order to hit that $1 million or multi-million dollar mark, you have to grow and expand. Because I just wanted to share this a little bit with my husband and I, who's my business partner. He Just one day we were working and I said, hey, let me see the numbers. And we were like 1.2 million. We're like, well, how do we even get to 1 point? So it really was organic, right? So I just want to explain, like, you can get to sometimes to that $1 million organically without a whole bunch of investment. But once you get to that $1 million, either
You
you're
need
going to
investment.
decide, hey, I like being who I was and I'm going to stay here. But just know that revenue isn't going to increase because you're not scaling, right? So you may
That's
have more
right.
business, but you don't have enough people to get the business done. So
Ah,
just being really
key,
thoughtful,
key.
about how you want to scale.
Yes.
And one of our mentors from the EAN program, Sam Johnson, he is the global. He leads all of the Americas for Ernst and Young, and he
Mm-hmm.
gives us a lot of great nuggets. And one of the things he said is like, "Hey, don't hold on to your business too long, because one of the things that we do as brown people, right? We exactly what you said. We want to hold on to it too long." He said, "Your goal is to grow this business and then sell the business, because I don't know if when you sell the business that you're selling it, you can get 7 times the value
Yeah.
of the company
Yeah.
if you have put that, if you have it's operationally sound and all the things that they're looking for. And so I just want to really just kind of encourage that as entrepreneurs, that we don't hold on too long either to businesses, because we can always start new businesses, right? So just something to think about and noodle on. And it's just something that he continues to say to us, because we're the ones who miss out, right, on getting the profit because we hold on to it too long, right? And maybe our children our children or family members, they don't want to run the company when we leave. Not everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. So I just want you to take advantage of, when you're building your business, to always keep your eyes also out on how you're building it, how you're growing it and scaling it, so you can make it sellable.
Absolutely. And so that's a really important nugget about scaling your business. The other thing I want to add to that is, and I'll ask you this question and then I'll expand on it. How do you put the right people in the right seats to do the right job?
I do it every day. Like, it's so important.
Exactly.
The
Exactly.
business doesn't work without having the right seats, the right people in the right job. And when you don't have them, you have to be quick to say, hey, this isn't working. So that doesn't mean that you have to necessarily fire them, but maybe you find something else that fits their skill set. But if I don't have anything else, then I have to let people go, right? And so that's really that hard part about being a CEO, is
Mm-hmm.
taking out that whole personal aspect, which I
Mm-hmm.
love people, and it's really, really hard for me, you all. But I do it because I know our business is dependent on me making those types of decisions.
Decision.
And
Yeah.
so how we do that, Terry, is basically I'm vetting everybody who comes into the organization before we ever offer them any employment opportunities, or before I even send them to the recruiter, because I'm not just looking for your skill set. I'm
That's
looking to
right.
make sure you fit into our culture. Right. And one of our values, which I love to share, is my favorite one. It's just joyful collaboration. Right. Because we collaborate, but we're joyful. We love what we do.
That's
Right.
right.
We hold each other accountable, but we do it in a fun way. We do it in an exciting way. We have a great track record with our clients, and so joyful collaboration is key. So if I find someone, they may have a great skill set, but I'm like, hey, they don't really fit into that culture, right? They're a little grumpy. They might not fit here, right? I might
Right.
be a little too
Right.
bubbly for them. So it's other aspects. It's not just the what you can do from a skill set perspective, but how do you fit into the culture? And I really challenge each one of you who are running a business, and as you are thinking about bringing on additional people, that you really think about the culture in addition to the skill set.
Absolutely. And I'm going to add to understand the mission and the vision of your business and make sure that you're communicating that to your team, right? So, one of the things I do also, Tiffany, I teach human resource management at Medgar Evers College, right? And I also,
Okay. I have a master's degree. I guess I didn't really go too deep. I'm a little humble. I'm an extrovert, but it's kind of hard for me sometimes
I
to
can tell.
just kind of I don't really talk about myself too much. And basically I have a master's degree in organizational development
Yes,
as well. So I really understand. So I see you and I have some synergy, because you were like, yes,
absolutely.
I know exactly what you're
Absolutely.
saying. Sometimes we were like, what is she talking about? So that's so important, is really looking at the human resources within the organization.
That's
So the
right.
human side is really, really important.
Right. And so one of the things that I encourage my students to do, especially, I make them on day one, they become future commissioners. I make them future commissioners in my class. And so I make them accountable. I even assign them an agency. And I
Nice.
make them responsible for that agency throughout the semester. So when we're talking about the organization, they are taking personal ownership for everything that they're reading about. Because one of the other things I make them do is every week they have to bring in a newspaper clip around what we're talking about in class. And so if we're talking about human resources, if we're talking about economics, whatever that is, they have to bring in something about it, and we handicap it in class because I want them to see that theory and practice go together. I don't want them to just
Exactly.
read a book and be like, well, I read that book, but I don't know how I really apply right now, right? So
Exactly.
in doing so, I make them read these two books. One is How to Win Friends and Influence People, and the other one is Getting to Yes, right? So when we're talking about putting the right people in the right seats for the right job, we have to, one, make sure that the culture of the organization fit that person, that personality. So
Hmm.
you don't want, like you said, you don't want in your bubbly environment to have someone that's grumpy or that's always, because then that's going to cause tension in your
Right.
organization. But the other thing is you want to make sure that you're communicating to your team what your vision and the mission of your organization is, and making sure that they are motivated and encouraged to work through whatever that is. Because a lot of times I literally have, when I go into organizations, I literally have, staff to say, I don't know what the vision is. I don't know
Hmm.
what the mission is. My job is X, Y, and Z. And literally that's what they do. That's not a part of my job description. I'm like,
Right.
what?
And that's why, Terry, you have to have them build the mission and vision with you.
That's
So
right.
we didn't build it in a vacuum, right? We didn't
That's
say
right.
we want joyful collaboration. That was a description that came from leadership team. That is the description that came from our employees, and how they described how the values and their feelings about Newhouse Project Consulting. So we did a whole revamp of our operation model, which included us, hey, let's look at our vision again. At 5 years, you should be looking at that vision and mission
That's
again. You
right.
should look at that maybe in 2 years if your company is really growing. Because when you first start off, you have one mission, but as you get into certain rooms and you have new opportunities, then you maybe
It
think
shifts.
differently.
It shifts.
It shifts a little bit. And so maybe you just wanted to be, a local, company, but now you just met someone and they're amazing. They're offering you an opportunity here in the US or somewhere else internationally. So now you need to tweak it a little bit and say, hey, our mission is to do XYZ internationally
That's
opposed to
right.
nationally. So just be encouraged, because those types of things really do happen.
That's right.
And so I just really want to be more encouraging and positive around all that comes with being, an entrepreneur as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, we're at our 25 mark. We're going to take a quick break. I'm telling you, this hour's going to go by so quick. You'll be like, wait a minute. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Thank you so much.
Market and Deli and Plaza East Online. We are your local hometown supermarket for all your grocery shopping needs. You now have the convenience of grocery shopping online, saving you time and money. Freeing up your time spent in a grocery store, giving you more time for yourself as well as your family. Just simply fill out the online form or give us a call and we will process your order for pickup or delivery. Thank you for shopping at Seaside Market and Deli and Plaza East Online.
Get up and get going with V Plus Energy. Challenge yourself and your friends to get up every day and get going. Grab your favorite V Plus flavor and tackle the day. Get excited and get energized with V Plus. It's made with 100% real fruits and veggies. There's no way you could crash, unlike other traditional energy drinks that you don't know what the hell is in there. Chemicals and other unpronounceable ingredients that you wouldn't give to your mama. Get V Plus. Healthy energy with none of the sacrifice. Get going at drinkvplus.com.
I used to watch BET, MTV, VH1, now I watch Tempo. Soca, Calypso, Reggae Dancehall. Don't stall, better get tuned in to the tempo. Don't have cable, they got an app. Go to your app store, download that. Whether it's tourism, cuisine, or the social scenes, if it ain't Tempo, it's a rap. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo. Who got the Caribbean views? Tempo. It's the latest in Caribbean news. Tempo. You tryna cook Caribbean food? Tempo. You know they got the music videos too. Tempo.
ATL runs on V Plus Energy. We love our home and our people. We at V Plus made it our mission to provide healthy energy to our city, so that's what we did, and you all love it. 5 fruits, 5 vegetables, 5 vitamins. It's healthy, tasty energy. But don't just take my word. Listen for yourself.
Man, I tried a lot of energy drinks. Tastes good. That's one of the biggest things. Refreshing, and it's not too strong. So I like it, man.
People, it's Alexander Aperture, the commercial king, and check this out, man. We're here with V Plus Energy. Look, you try to get your energy up. You out here in a competition like this, man. Field day. You're gonna need something to get a little extra kick. Make sure you get that V Plus Energy. That way.
Hey, what's up? It's Clay Johnson Russian, and we are checking in with the V Plus Energy drink. This drink is amazing. I love that it don't give you the jitters. Friday, check it out. The drink is very good. I like the peach flavor. And so far, I'm trying to see if the energy kicks in.
I guess that energy kicked in. Now it's time to get you some. Visit drinkvplus.com.
Today we're taking a little vacation on the west end of St. Croix, visiting a seaside restaurant called the Beachside Cafe here at Sandcastles on the Beach.
The atmosphere is just wonderful.
You just feel very welcome when you're here.
Hi! I'd like to introduce Chris and Ted, who are the owners of Beachside Cafe and also Sandcastles on the Beach. This is amazing.
Thank you. Sandcastle on the Beach is quiet and friendly, relaxing.
I often entertain guests, and this is the one place I always try to bring people.
Tell us a little bit about the hotel.
Well, the hotel is a 25-room hotel. We have 10 different room types within that. We also have, of course, our greatest asset, the ocean out there, which our side of the island is very calm typically. So it's the best swimming beach and also great for snorkeling.
And just walking, doing a nice walking beach tour.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Best beach access is right here, so we love them.
And we're also fortunate we have just up the way Sandy Point National Park, and then Frederickstead Town is just a mile away. And so we're really fortunate to be in this perfect spot.
Welcome back to the Coaxum Report. I am Terry Coaxum. I am your host. I have special guest Tiffany Newhouse. She's the CEO of Newhouse Project Consulting, executive coach, organizational strategist, transformational leader, and speaker. And for those of you that have just joined us, you can catch our show Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, Apple TV, Roku, and I encourage you to download our app at ourtv.network. And, I've been encouraged, inspired by Tiffany talking about a little bit of her journey and her experience. We talked about the barriers and stepping out on faith. We talked about planning. And when we ended, we were just talking about having the right people in the right seats to do the right job, understanding the vision, understanding the mission, communicating it, motivating your employees, and then pivoting if you need to strategize and change it based on opportunities that avail themselves to you during along the way. And so Tiffany has really been dropping a lot of nuggets. So take out your pen, your pencils, your phone with your notes, and grab some of this information, because she's really a transformational leader that is leaving it all on the table today on the Coaxum Report. So I want to thank you for being vulnerable, for giving it to us straight up, no chaser, because a lot of times as small business owners, we feel like we're on an island. We're in we're on the river in Egypt, and no one understands we're on our own.
Exactly.
It's not until we hear from you, and even just that nugget you dropped about getting that $1.2 million mark and understanding that you now have to put even more into your business to be able to scale up even more. A lot of people think that when they get to that point, then you've made it. But actually, your job has really just begun. So I want to thank you so much for sharing that, because that was definitely a nugget that we really don't hear every day as small business owners. We talked about all the resources that are available to you, especially now. Like Tiffany put it in a great way. She said brown people have access to all of these resources. So I'm going to say Black and brown folk, because of COVID, putting a spotlight and a black eye on a lot of the situations where there was no equity. There is now more equity and availability of resources. And so take advantage of that. I remember, Tiffany, when I was working for Small Business Administration, I was a regional advocate under President Obama. And I remember telling small business owners, there are no grants except for the SBIR, STTR grants that are science-funded grants. Because when you're creating science and technology, you're going to fail a lot of times before you're able to be successful. So the government was providing grants. But other than that, there weren't any. However, after COVID, post-COVID, there are tons of grants for you to avail yourselves to. And we talked about some of the incubator opportunities. We talked about Ernst & Young. We talked about Goldman Sachs, the SBA, SBDCs. Here in New York, we have the Small Business Development Centers, as well as Small Business Services. Mayor Adams is really keen on making sure that we have resources available for small businesses. And so the Small Business Development Center, and then there's the Economic Development
Nice.
It's also available here in New York and New Jersey, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands. There's tons of services for small business. So thank you so much for sharing that information and encouraging folk to go do the research to see what's available for their industry, for them to be able to scale up. I love scale up, level up, level up, level up.
Level up, level up.
For them to be able to scale up. So we talked about some of the barriers, and I want to talk a little bit more about the best practices because something that you said really kind of pivoted us into this point. You know, you said you were talking about partnering with like Salesforce. Those kind of opportunities are best practices. Those are kind of things that take you to the next level, will give you big ideas, right? So having Salesforce, having QuickBooks, having Google, having all of those organizations kind of partner with your small business, giving you an opportunity to scale up, giving you an opportunity to have some of these best practices. I want to talk about some of these best practices that you're able to use, Tiffany, in your business so we can encourage and inspire other young people. The other thing I love, Tiffany said it more than one time. She said, I want to inspire, I want to encourage. So she's all about support. I already know what kind of consultant she is.
I'm all about just making. I'm just like I said, we were all about joyful collaboration, and so majority of the time I have a smile on my face, and sometimes life is life, and it's been one of those years too. And so I think as entrepreneurs, just taking all that into account, like yes, we're entrepreneurs and we're running a business, but we're also human beings, and so when life is lifing, then make sure you take some time out for your own mental health, which I think is absolutely critical as entrepreneurs and leaders, that we take time out, for ourselves. But some of the ways that we've been able to, some of the lessons learned or opportunities that have helped us scale our business is really a couple of things, right? So we came together, my husband and I and the team, and we're, doing our strategic planning. But one is to become a partner, right? So that means that you go through a process and fill out paperwork and you do these things, and now you're accepted by that company and say, hey, you're a partner. What does that mean? That means that you can now help maybe roll out Salesforce to other companies. You are attached to them from a revenue perspective, and it gives you an opportunity to generate revenue that you wouldn't typically have been able to do. So I think that's really important, but I also recommend not having too many partnerships, right? So be strategic about your partnerships and make sure they're in alignment with what you want to do or where you're going, right? So I just want to just caution everyone, because I've seen people partner too much and then they're spending all their time on the partnering and they're not going after the opportunity. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And then there's like joint venture opportunities that you can do with your fellow entrepreneurs, right? Sometimes we're better together. When we show up together, we have more breadth, more depth, right? And so when we go to a large company, maybe a Coca-Cola or whatever, and we've come together, they can't say, well, you're not large enough. Well, why not? So we show up as, we come together as a joint venture.
That's right.
So that's another way that we do business. And then of course, I'm always looking to just collaborate. Like you can also, Terry, this coming from the SBA, the whole teaming, right? So if you're in the government space, you can team up with the prime. So a lot of times we work with the BART, which is our transportation system in the Bay Area. That's where we're located in San Francisco, California. And so our transportation system, we have a ton of people in the Bay Area. So we were probably pushing about 500,000 people a day. That's our one of our top clients. But in order to work with them, we have to work through a prime. So we don't get to work directly with them. So we have to work through a larger construction prime. So that's another way to go after opportunities. You may not have all of the insurance requirements. You may not have all the breadth and depth and all the other things that they're looking for from a check the box perspective, right? The paperwork. But if you're coming underneath as a prime, you don't have to worry about that. You're just offering your services. So I will just repeat it again, which is, once again, to become a partner. Number 2, there's JV opportunities. And 3, there's teaming opportunities as well with larger companies in that government space.
And I think it's really important that you're bringing those things up, because like I said, my main goal is to get everyone certified that is qualified to be certified.
And you absolutely, Terry, need to be certified. So the only reason, Terry, that the large prime is really, to be honest, working with us now before we built a
Encouraged and
relationship, right?
inspired to work with us.
Right, but we had to bring something to the table, and Terry's absolutely right. What we brought to the table was our certification, and they cannot do business. The Department of Transportation mandates them to allocate a certain percentage of their business to women-owned, Black-owned businesses. And so by having that certification, that really got us through the door. So I just want to emphasize what Terry's doing. She may be one of your first stops you want to make is really understanding, because you have to bring something to the table. And right now, what they want is to be able to check the box to let the government know and others know, because they also want to tout it, right? Hey, we're doing XYZ amount of revenue with Black and brown businesses, right? And so I think Terry, what she's doing is absolutely critical, and we wouldn't have gotten as far as we have without the certifications. Not that they've, and I want to be really clear on this, Terry, not that they've helped us close deals, but they've been an entry point.
That's right.
So I don't want to rely just on the certification either, right, Terry?
That's right, Tiffany. And I say that all the time. That's just your license to hunt. You got to go get the game. So you don't get to just say, I got certification, so where's the work?
Right.
You got to go get the work. You got to. So certification, like Tiffany said, is an entry point to what you're doing. And there's all types of certifications. There's your city certification, your state certification, and then certification with your federal government. I tell people, GSA, don't sleep on GSA is purchasing everything from paper clips to planes. You want to be on that schedule. You want to be doing business with GSA. You want to be an 8A firm. You want, if you're in a hub zone, you want to be a hub zone firm, a minority woman-owned business firm. So all of these are just like Tiffany said, these are entry points. These give you that extra leverage that you need to scale your business and take it to the next level. And so I'm encouraging and inspiring wherever you are in the world. If these opportunities are available to you through certification, please take advantage of them. And there are no boundaries anymore. I can do business in the Bay Area just like Tiffany in New York. So we're
a remote company, Terry.
That's
so
right.
You're spot on. Like during COVID, we were like, hey, we don't need an office. We're just we're all remote. And our clients also are still in this hybrid mode where they're kind of like, hey, some clients want our consultants on site. But majority of them still don't want consultants on site. And so we're still living in this post-COVID world where we have to adapt and pivot and be flexible around what our clients' needs are, and the world that we're operating in, today, post-COVID. And so
these are best practices. These are best practices. And that's why it's so important for me to have this show, to bring persons like you on, Tiffany, to talk about, not just the barriers, because everyone can sit and talk about all the things that are not going right. But when we talk about the best practices, we talk about teaming, we talk about joint ventures, we talk about, getting certified and partnerships and all of these things. I think that it's really important to hear from someone that's doing it, right? I crack up with my students, especially when they're telling me about these TikTok success stories. I'm like, yeah, that stuff don't really happen overnight like that.
Like, I don't fall for that one.
There's some work that goes into this thing to get you to that point. And then when you step back and you peel back the onion and the layers, and you see how Steve Harvey became Steve Harvey, right? Mm-hmm. And you see how all of the great leaders that you look at, including Kobe, like Kobe was a beast. He was always in training mode, So it's like he's great on the court, but he's also great off the court, right?
Exactly.
So these are the things that I try to encourage in my students, especially. I'm like, listen, if you want something, first do your research, find out, if this is attainable for you based on your skill set, based on your capacity, based on where you are. Like, nothing is removed from what you can do. However, I need you to do your work, right? Put in your work. Right. And if you put in your work, our name will go behind you. We'll encourage you. We'll inspire you. We'll introduce you. We'll make those introductions. We'll make sure you're in the right room. We'll sit you at the table. We'll put you at the panel. We'll put you in the front of
exactly
you need. We'll make sure that you get it, but you have to show us first, right? I know one of my read a lot of books, and one of the stories I was reading one day, and it says, tell people what you're going to do, show people what you're going to tell people what you're going to do, but first show them, right? So you're showing them, and you're telling them through showing them. And so I think it's always important to go out and get what you need. Don't hold it so close to the vest, because then you don't have an opportunity for someone to help you out. Not everyone wants the same thing, regardless of you thinking your big idea is the best idea.
I've done that before too. Like, oh man, I have this amazing idea. Then you realize, well, maybe it wasn't as unique as I thought it was, but that's okay. Maybe you have a different spin on it. You know what I mean? But
Exactly.
like Terry's saying, holding it close to your vest doesn't allow you that growth and that
No,
expansion
it doesn't
and
allow you to
other
materialize.
excitement that comes with really growing your business and seeing the other side of things. As I've strictly was focused on, just consulting and delivering the change management. But now we really have an opportunity, and I really want to encourage also the audience to look beyond and thinking about innovation and what's coming up next, right?
That's
And
right.
so while we can consult on how the world used to look and how we used to do things, there's a movement going on around the environment. So what are you doing in the space around ESG?
That's
Right.
right.
And so that's a huge opportunity. You have $1 trillion TAM,
That's
total
right.
addressable market, right? So that's when AI, if you're not using AI,
then you're left.
behind,
Then you're
right?
not left. You're not behind. You left.
Right, already, because even though it's in the early,
not really.
AI's
early.
been around, but I mean,
Yeah,
early phase of adoption, right? So I want to
that's
be really
right.
clear,
That's right.
right, about that early phase of adoption. There's still time to get into this space and
That's
really
right.
use that as a really great revenue stream. And one of the things we learned here at the WOO conference, I went to the same session for 3 days in a row, but it built on how you leverage, Chat GP3, but also how you leverage the other online AI tools,
That's
which
right.
was fascinating. How you can, from an operational perspective, the reason why I'm bringing this up, because we're talking about scaling.
That's
And when
right.
you're scaling, you have to bring people on, and people cost money.
That's
And the
right.
more you scale, the more people you need. But if you learn how to leverage AI and you incorporate that, you don't need as many people. Now, I love people, but I will leverage people in a different way, right? I may not leverage them to do some of the basic, mundane tasks. If AI and the tools can replace that, then I can also look to my team and say, hey, I don't want to let you go, but where else can we be? How can we be more efficient here?
That's
And
right.
also, where else might you want to do things within the organization? And so I just really wanted to encourage that whole innovation piece, because we're always looking forward. I'm very much a transformative leader. I'm the visionary. And so and these are things that come up in those spaces and places that Terry and I were talking about. I would have never thought about ESG if I was not in this EYEAN program. I never even knew what ESG was. So that's what I'm saying. When you're in these rooms and you're in these programs, you hear and learn about new opportunities. And so I just want you all to just keep your minds open to that. But I definitely want you to look into how do you incorporate AI into your organization, but then also how do you leverage AI to impact your clients and what you're doing. And then also looking at that space around ESG, because we all live on this planet. We all have been contributing to being polluters of this planet.
That's right.
And so I think just looking at that piece is really important as well.
And so, Tiffany, I'm glad you're bringing this up, because I have the honor and the pleasure actually to participating in a panel for the Congressional Black Caucus this week. Is started today, and I'll be in D.C. And my Congresswoman Yvette D. Clarke, hailing from the great state of New York by way of Jamaica,
yes,
is actually doing a panel on AI and how to utilize AI, and it's going to be a phenomenal panel. I get an opportunity to actually introduce her and some of what she's doing. And I'm so excited because, like you said, it's been around for a while. Banks have been leveraging AI since forever. Google and Facebook, all of these are using these algorithms, and they're leveraging it, and we're left because we're not taking advantage of it. So I'm encouraging anyone that's listening to, don't be afraid of technology.
Right.
Technology is your friend. Technology makes things a lot easier for you. There was a time that you had to have someone sit at a desk, answer your phones in order for you to feel like everything was doing the right thing. But guess what? You now have the technology that your phone is with you at all times, right?
Right.
But more importantly, you don't have the person sitting at the desk. Things are still getting put on your calendar. You're moving around. You don't have a physical space. You don't even need a physical space. You can work out of work spaces. You can work out of different states, different countries. You can work by beach.
Exactly.
as long as
where you are. Yeah.
Right? So these are all best practices and big ideas. And it also stops your team from getting burnt out. One of the things that I've read, when I was first doing my MBA, we were talking and reading about burnout and how real that was. Like, there were businesses that the retention rate was a problem.
Very
because
much so.
folks were getting very much burnt out. Now you literally, I don't care how many hours you spend on a job, just as long as you get the task done. If I
Exactly.
give
That's
you a
our
project
mindset.
and you finish the project, that's all I care about. I don't care if you only took 4 hours to finish the project.
Exactly.
Take your 4 hours and go to the beach if you want to. That's fine. You
Exactly.
didn't pay for the whole day because you did what I needed you to do, right? And I think that that is really important, especially for entrepreneurs. It's important for us to really retain wonderful staff that's energetic, motivated, able to pivot, able to scale, and more importantly, that are loyal to what we're doing and feel good about doing it every day. I feel good when I wake up in the morning. I love my job.
Right, and we can tell because you bringing the energy. You bring that energy, and I'm excited. I'm getting all excited and re-energize myself around being an entrepreneur by just feeling your
Exactly.
energy. You know,
Exactly. Because
and
at the end
Terry,
of the day, go ahead.
you said something I just wanted to highlight: flexibility around leadership.
That's right.
I just wanted because you were pulling out some nuggets, but I want to call that one out right there. Flexibility. We can't be rigid. We can't micromanage. We can't scale and grow a business when we're worrying about what every single person in the organization is doing. If you have the right people, like Terry said, in the right role, they're in the culture, they're going to already be committed to doing what you've asked them to do.
That's right.
And so, and a part of being able to grow and scale your company is just having that flexibility around leadership. And so I just really wanted to call that out, Terry. That was a great
Absolutely. Point. And that's an awesome nugget to call out. The other one that I want to call out that you talked about, and I don't think that we really utilize it enough. Technology. I mean, these little phones go with us every single space. So you know everything you need can be on the phone. You don't need to now find your laptop in a space.
Right.
There's literally everything you need if you utilize it correctly can work from this phone. And so even my daughter, just before we got on the call, she had to fill out an Adobe document, and I'm like, all right, download Adobe. She said, I have a How am I supposed to sign this PDF? And I'm gonna leave that right there. I'm like, it's called Adobe. What are you gonna do, right? And so she was able to fill out her document, get it back in record time. But I'm like, okay, so and that's another generational gap, right? Because the technology, she can freak the technology every single time, hand over foot. But when it comes to the tools, that's what I do the research on.
Exactly.
I don't want just technology. I want the right tools to be able to do what I'm doing effectively. And you talked about it. That's how you're going to be able to scale. You can't scale if everything is here.
Right.
Everything has to be in a place where if I drop, somebody else can pick it up and
thank you. That's exactly what I was
to take it to the next level.
Mm-hmm. And looking at, to everyone out there, really we look at three main categories. People, right? So how are we doing in that people category? Process, because process is how we do things. So if we're consistently delivering through that process, then we're consistently delivering excellence. And I expect nothing from excellence for anyone who works in our organization. Our brand is built around delivering excellence. And so those processes really help ensure you have repeatable outcomes, right? And so that's really important. And then the third piece is technology. So we go people, process, technology in that order, because everything starts with people.
That's right.
Then process, because I don't know, I'm just this is just my little tangent right here, but I've never seen a process kind of do itself. I've never seen a computer turn itself on. AI doesn't turn your computer on. AI doesn't tap on the computer for you. So it starts with human beings.
That's right.
As long as you all are focused on the humans in your organization, right, you're going to be okay. So focus on the humans first. Then figure out, okay, now I have these amazing people. What are the processes? How do we repeat this? And then lastly, how do we use technology to enable, what we're doing and also provide better services to our clients?
Solutions. All I hear solutions coming. So this is this is great because believe it or not, our time is up. But you just left us with a huge nugget. People, process, technology. These are the solutions. So we started out talking about the barriers, all the things that can hinder you from growing your business, scaling your business, being your business, right? And then we talked about some best practices, some things you use. You talked about partnerships and joint ventures. And then you went on even to talk about the partnerships and joint ventures. And there was one more.
Oh, well, we were talking about the teaming as well. And I just want to offer up I'm very helpful. I love helping whatever I can share. So if anyone wants to reach out to me, I'm at Tiffany Tiffany at N as in Nancy, P as in Paul, and then the word consulting.co. Don't put a com at the end. But it's .co. So Tiffany at npconsulting.co. And then we also have our website. And as I mentioned, we're located in San Francisco, but we just talked about location doesn't matter anymore.
That's right.
So feel free to reach out to me via the website or via my email.
Absolutely. And then, we've had a phenomenal conversation, Tiffany, and I know I'm going to have you come back on and talk to us a little bit more, because we started off by talking about our barriers. We went into our best practices, and we're ending with our big ideas being around people, process, and technology. So everything starts with people. And you and I both know, coming from that human resource background, coming from that world where we're able to look at the people and the processes and move them in a way that can scale our business to the next level. So I want to thank you so much for being on the Coaxum Report.
Thank you. I had an amazing time. And thanks for listening, everyone. And however I can help, just let me know.
Absolutely. And those of you that want to catch the first part of this, you can then, download the app at ourtv.network. You can catch us on Amazon Fire TV, on Android TV, Apple TV, Roku. And we're also rebroadcast on Tempo. So please catch the rebroadcast on Tempo. Have a super amazing day on purpose. And I want to thank you again, Tiffany, for being a part of the Coaxum Report. Take care and be blessed.
Thank you.
You're too damn important to be drinking trash. This is V Plus Energy, one of the healthiest energy drinks in the world. 5 fruits, 5 vegetables, 5 vitamins. The other brands just won't tell you what they put in their drink, and that's scary. V Plus is natural recurring energy with great taste.